Diane, before we begin, as always, I'd love for you to share with our viewers and our listeners about your new book, Rise, and also the other work that you've accomplished, because you truly are an incredibly accomplished woman who is very heart-centered and very heart-centric and always willing to help someone. And I really appreciate that about you. So I'm going to spotlight you, and don't be shy. Let's have it.
That's so sweet of you. I was so taken by your words. I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to talk about now. I better get to the power of listening to your show. I was like, what are you talking about? So
start with your book. Tell us all about your book, Rise, A Girl's Struggle for More.
Thank you. I'm so excited about it. And this book would not have happened if it hadn't been for my mom. So I have to just say that right away. My mom and my dad have always been so good about family stories, but especially my mom. And then when I had my grandma Ruby, whom the book is based on, she would share stories, but I learned she left a lot out, which would make sense because she was my grandma, and she was like not going to tell us about her young 20s. So the story Rise, and here's the book right here, and it's behind me, and this is my grandma when she was 16. And I think what I want the listeners to know is that, did you know that in the early 1920s, parents did not consider teenagers? That word did not really come to be like an everyday word until 1950. And it was the teenagers of quote, the young adults of the 1920s that helped rush a move into the word teenager in our life. And so I'm concentrating on my grandmother's early days in the 1920s. She was born in 1904, and what it took as a young woman to want to do more. Not that there's anything wrong with it, because I was a stay-at-home mom for a while as well. But she wanted to become a businesswoman. And so her struggle to get there is an exciting journey, and I hope it'll be an inspiration to everyone who reads it.
Thank you, Diane. And having read it myself, it is an inspiration, and I highly recommend that everyone go over and is it still pre-order? Because I pre-ordered mine.
Yes, it's pre-ordered, and the pre-launch is actually happening on October the 5th in Drumright, Oklahoma. So I'll be heading out to Oklahoma next week. So we'll be doing our show that we're doing right now in Oklahoma. But I'm really excited. The museum has asked me to come and launch it there. So I'm very happy.
That is very exciting. Now, speaking of fashion, what will you be wearing for this amazing event?
I haven't even gotten that far. You know, Drumright is a beautiful small town, and I'm sure I'll wear something that's very appropriate for that town. At the same time, it will have a little glamour to it, because that's just a little bit of who I am. And Drumright, it's, you know, in its day, in the 1920s, all the oil that we have today, Drumright, Oilton, Shamrock, Cushing, all of those towns that you don't hear about actually were so important to our economy. And it's going to be fun to be in Drumright, because Drumright was the place you went to for fashion. And it was a place you went to make business. And when the people who help from New York would come down, and they were the businessmen who helped make sure the money was there to get the oil to pump out of the ground, it was Drumright where they stayed. And so it really has a great history, and I'm really excited to be a part of it. And Drumright Museum, thanks to Tammy Posey, the curator, she made it possible for Drumright Museum to be part of the Smithsonian now. How about that?
Wow, that's fascinating. That's a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, I hope you meet her one day. She's is exciting. But to think about this town and the Smithsonian Institute, to recognize them is a huge accomplishment. And so for me to be there is going to be very exciting. But it's also, I give you a little tip or a hint in the book. this is the town where my grandmother works something out and she takes off because the train station left from there. So I'll be right there at the train station, right where she took off to start a new adventure.
Wow, it sounds like it could be a movie. Are there any plans for it to become one?
That would be so wonderful. I truly do believe it is a Hallmark movie for sure.
Well, let's put it out there.
Yeah, let's put it out there.
You know, Diane, talking about museums and fashion, I just thought to myself, I was really blessed to be able to go to the Philadelphia Art Museum. I was a member there before the pandemic, and they had a display for Christian Dior.
Oh.
And the whole part of the museum wing was this Dior event, and it was incredible. The clothes that different people had worn throughout the years, different celebrities and first ladies. It was really amazing.
Oh, that had to be so exciting. And you took the words right out of my mouth, because I was immediately thinking about the First Ladies Museum in DC, and the dresses that they have on display are the dresses they wore for the inauguration of ball. And so, wow.
I didn't even know about that. You know what? I'm going to be around that area. I should go check it out. What is it called again?
It's the First Ladies Museum. And
First Ladies Museum.
Yeah, it shows all their accomplishments as First Lady, as well as the dress they wore the night that they were inaugurated as the First Lady of the United States.
How far back does it go? I mean, all the way to George Washington?
I think actually to the very first official ball, but you will see some of the dresses that the earlier presidents' wives wore when they had their own personal party, because it took a while for the United States to say, oh, you know what, I think this would be a really good fashion statement.
I think, you know, yeah, I liked how you did the little sachet there. I think it's interesting just thinking back to those times, and even the dress that's behind me or somewhere, when we think about dresses that had those corsets in it, you know, those bones in them, and then you lace them up, and apparently that's why people would have such small waists.
Small waists, and I'm sure they had blood clots.
Yeah.
Whoa, I don't get it. I'm so grateful we don't have to wear the corsets. I thought a girdle, and now they call them spandexes. I thought those were bad enough.
It's so true. I remember when I was married, which was for a minute in the 90s, I went downtown in Philadelphia, and I had this couturier actually fit my clothes to me. And of course, they actually fit up until a couple of years ago. And I thought to myself, why would I waste all that money, like binding myself into something like that?
Exactly. Or, you know, pushing everything up.
Right. Pushing it up, shoving it in, packing it down. It's just not good. And now the way our society is, you know, not everyone obviously, but it's loose and baggy.
Loose and baggy, and actually I don't care for that very much, because
I don't either.
I think a woman's figure is so beautiful, and I really believe that, you know, we had this one beautiful guest on who is going to be in a pageant actually, and I think she's the very first one who is in a pageant that has to do for plus size women.
Yes.
And she was incredible, and I loved how she owned the fact that women are beautiful in all shapes and sizes, and I love that. I love the fact that we, I mean, they gave us curves, so let's enjoy it, right? So
yes,
chocolate. I want that brownie and have some more curves.
I do love it. I just was thinking, part of what I like now today about getting dressed is putting on a pair of heels, and I haven't worn heels in so long. And I went to the dentist this week, and I actually was all, I mean, I'm dressed up now, right? I'm wearing like a Nicole Miller sequin dress, but I don't have any shoes on. And so I actually had to put heels on. And Diane, it was such a weird experience because my foot's not like, some of the shoes, they're pointed and you have to literally shove your foot in there. And so we have a lot of steps here in this house. So anyway, I made it downstairs, like going sideways, holding onto the railings. And I made it out to the driveway and I got in the car and I thought, this just feels so strange, and I hope I'll be able to walk in them. So anyway, I went to the dentist's office, and I didn't have to walk too far to lie in that chair where they do their work, but I felt good wearing the shoes is my point.
Yeah, their shoes are so beautiful. And, I meant to bring some hats, and maybe during one of the commercials, I'll go get some if you want. But to me, the hats and the shoes and the gloves and the necklace, there's just something that it adds to and makes the whole look come alive. But shoes, oh my goodness. Now for me, my mom, she could really wear those stilettos, and I think I told you she wouldn't give them up. I think at 77 she was still wearing them.
That's incredible. How were her feet? Were they sort of like, like this, like?
She had to have foot surgery twice, but she still would not give them up. She goes, stilettos make your legs look gorgeous, darling.
And that's so true. Yay, Mom. I think it's true. And I think you feel different when you have on a pair of heels. I know, I remember I had this job. I was working for this cable and wire company selling the big cables that they would use in manufacturing plants. And anyway, it's a long story, but you couldn't wear high heels because you went into all different kinds of environments. And I would wear like this small chunky heel, not like a wedge, but and not a kitten, somewhere in between. And I just felt so dumpy. So in order to compensate for that, I ended up getting acrylic nails, and they were really long. And I used to have them painted like tiger stripes. So, and we have this 3-in-1 oil and a striker. I had to do this demonstration, which was ridiculous. And I used to, on a regular basis, light my nails on fire by accident when I was trying to do it. This is the hot part of the presentation, and I always got people's attention. So,
well, I guess that's one way to do it.
Exactly. At least I didn't burn my fingers off. So, no, but the point is about shoes that I think, and flats are nice too. If you're going to run through an airport or something, having a nice pair of flats is better than wearing the heels, right?
Oh, absolutely. And I wear flats to the airport because I want to be able to slip out of them to go through all the detections that we have to go through these days. And I don't want to have to sit there and, tie things up or latch something on. But yeah, I mean, shoes have a purpose for all different things. Even one of your sponsors that have those amazing shoes for sustainability. I keep saying I'm going to order them, but I'm one of these people, I like to look at myself in the shoes. I don't know.
Yes. Well, they have one style, which is the style that's in the clip, and they're white. And then I think the back has like a green and blue pull, which, by the way, that pull is really important. I also think when it comes to shoes that I have evolved so much because I was obsessed with shoes. And I remember that there was a time in my life when I would actually take a Polaroid picture of the shoes, and the shoes would be bagged in the box with the Polaroid, and then I'd have an inventory of them written down. And I was so excited because I had over 250 pairs of Manolo Blahniks. And who could ever wear all of those? It's ridiculous. And so then things changed, and I sold a lot of them on eBay. And I think today I probably have 50 pairs of shoes, and I wear literally none of them except for to go to
the environment that we're in right now. But I think you beat Imelda Marcos in shoes, by the way, at least from the 1980s when I lived in the Philippines, because they'd say 200 shoes she had, but that's amazing.
Well, and it's also, if you ever watch the reality TV show, I'm not even going to say which ones with the housewives, but some of their closets, when I'm like, what? It just goes on and on and on with shoes, and they don't have their shoes in boxes. I still have my shoe boxes, and I still have them in the garage. The boxes I haven't even opened, but they're all in boxes, except for the ones in my room. So the point is that on these shows, they have these special closets that are made.
Crazy, isn't it?
And it's like artwork. It's just like, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
It is artwork. And I have a friend in Dubai. I'll have to get her on the show because she designs and embroideries, hand embroideries, and makes shoes, especially for you, one of a kind.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll have to get in touch with her and get her on our show. They're gorgeous. The Emiratis are famous for having one of a kind, and so she does a great job for them. So.
Well, that sounds like it's right up my alley. I'll have to set a specific goal that if I attain the goal, then I get to buy the shoes.
Yeah. We'll have to have the one guest back that we had, who I'll say, because we continue to need to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. And she makes those beautiful glittery masks, and she also, India, yeah, India. How could I not forget? And she also, just for the listeners to know, when you order these from her, she puts in there a really good safe covering, so it is protecting you. It's not just glitz, but it's protection as well. I was really impressed with her.
I was too. And you brought up a great point that masks are part of our wardrobe now. So do you have certain masks that you like to wear as opposed to the paper mask?
Yeah, well, I wear the paper mask a lot, but yes, I actually ordered masks in my own design from some of my books and used them for people winning something, a drawing or something when they purchase a book. But yeah, I like different looks, but I also like the thought, that in some cultures, the women cover their lips because lips are considered very sensual. And it's not, in the Western society, we might look at it like, oh, they're being so mean to women. But in other societies, if you try to see it from their perspective, they see it from a way of lips are very sensuous, and therefore the lips are to cover because it's really something that is precious to the husband. And you can have debates about that or not, but it's interesting to think about. So here we are in this pandemic world, and we're covering our lips and so forth, or our face and our nose, just to be safe and healthy. But at the same time, I think about, I think I'll slide it down for my husband.
What's going on under that mask?
Right.
No, that's actually a very good point in perspective, because I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have known it either if I hadn't lived there. And as you are very well, much aware of, you can visit places, but until you actually live there or been there long enough to kind of see the insides of things, you learn a lot.
And I don't think it's as dramatic here in the United States, but I think there are places you can go here in this country where it's different, in one city, one town than it is the next one over.
Oh, absolutely. And in the state of Texas, because it's so large, you can be in the panhandle, and the needs and the perspective of people are closer to the people in Colorado compared to the people down in the valley or Houston, because the weather's different, what they can grow is different. It's just different. And then you're in North Texas in the Dallas area. That's all, not so much oil, but they run the business almost. And then you go over to Nacogdoches, and that's different. And so, I could just go on and on. And so, we just go. But then, a Texan, when they get out of Texas, and you go over, let's say, to Pennsylvania, which is so gorgeous. And I said Pennsylvania because I know you live there, and I just think Pennsylvania is so beautiful. And my mother was from there. That the people have different thoughts too, and I'm just like, bring it on. I'm so interested because, they just have a lot of intelligence up there. There's so much history.
There's so much history. When I lived in Pennsylvania the last time, I lived in a place called the Main Line, which is, a lot of blue bloods and a lot of old money. And of course, there definitely were certain cultural aspects there that were different than if you go into Center City, Philadelphia, or North Philadelphia, or West Philadelphia. And now just over the bridge, about an hour and 20 from Philadelphia in where I am now, it's a completely different world. It's just, it's amazing. It's not different countries, right? It's just, it's fascinating. So.
It's interesting that you said that, because this brings in travel. I find that, or I found living overseas, that Europeans and even people from the Middle East or the Philippines where I've lived are just like, they think, oh, United States, so you all think and look alike. And I'm like, no, just ask anybody from the North what they think of the South.
Well, and the truth is, and you live in one of these states, Florida and Texas are very open states compared to other states, right? So you might think it's a completely different world.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Absolutely.
Like California, look at California. That's very, very different than Florida.
Absolutely. And you actually picked a state that we're having a lot of impact. People from California coming into Texas, and they're like, oh, wow, you guys really think different. I thought we were just going to have, like a price cut, but I got to rethink how y'all think.
Texas does seem to be the place that many people are moving to. And also I am shocked at how many people on this platform, USA Global TV, are from Texas, because I really didn't know anyone from Texas. I'm like, Texas. It's like Texas in the UK.
I don't know. I don't know what it is, but you're right. I've been surprised about how many Texans are on this show. It's a beautiful state, but I will say that I've been to every single state except for Hawaii. I've only been in Hawaii's airport, so I can't count that. I have to.
Where were you going?
To the Philippines. So
okay,
a while ago. But every single state has something so absolutely magical and beautiful about it that I could just say something gorgeous about every single state and about the people I met. And I really, for all the listeners, especially our listeners who live overseas and you're thinking about coming to the U.S., I know I've met several people and they save Dr. JACALYN. And what I love about them is they get long vacations, Europeans do. And so they rent a car and they do this drive because they've heard of Route 66. And it's amazing what all they learn. So for our listeners, no matter if you're in the States or you're overseas, the Route 66 is a great way to see the United States.
And it's so funny because I don't think we have it anymore, but we actually had a music video for that Route 66. We don't have it anymore.
Really good, by the way. And it was an Englishman who did the song, right?
Yes. His name is Tony.
He was great. I love that song. You'll think of it in a break. Throw that at you.
And, somebody else came on the show. I forget who it was. And they said that Route 66 is not there anymore.
Oh, that's hogwash. Route 66 will always be there. But what's happening is the highways, as the population grows, the bigger highways are taking over. So you actually have to look for Route 66, because Route 66 allows you to stop into the small towns and see the mom and pa's, where when you take the big super highways and you have an exit, it's going to be to all the corporate fast foods and everything. So on there.
So if you wanted to travel on Route 66, you could still do that, but you'd be faster going on the super highway.
Right. But you won't, it just depends on what your purpose is. For me, if I'm not in a super hurry, I like doing what I call the back roads, which Route 66 would be considered now, because the back roads, you get to meet the people of the towns. And I absolutely love that.
And I think you've had a lot of interesting and really valuable experiences with your book signings, because you've been able to go into small towns, right? And have people come into, I want to say Kroger. No.
Kroger, that's right. The
Kroger. It is. Family. Okay. Yeah. Kroger. And they're in a lot of small towns, aren't they?
They are. The Kroger family, it's Kroger grocery store, but it's actually a family as well. HEB is also, this is truly their last name, so I'm not saying a cuss word. It's B-U-T-T, the Butt family. But each one, I know, crazy, right? That family and the Kroger family, what they do for people in the United States and helping them is, I can't say enough about the nonprofits that they do. And they help independent authors in both of these stores excel, and making sure people know that indie authors are phenomenal, and there's great books for reading there. And to have this opportunity to be in these small towns and meet the people, help be part of their economy. I try really hard, especially because I love antiquing. So I make sure I go into the antiques and I try to buy a little something to remind me of my time in their hometown.
So nice. When you were talking about antiquing, I was thinking about your home yesterday when we were doing that seminar, and I meant to tell you have a beautiful screen.
Oh, thank you.
It's really pretty.
Thank you. My fire screen. Yeah. I bought that for my mama a couple of years ago for Mother's Day. Her home had flooded. It never flooded before in 25 years, but there was a major thing that happened in another town in their lake that made our lake flood. And so it was very devastating for her. So when she finally was able to return home, she and I and my sister-in-laws, we had a blast going out and buying furniture. And then I took Mom out privately and we went to some stores and I bought her that. So when I look at it, I smile because, as you know, she's in heaven now, and it brings back a nice warm memory. So thank you for liking that.
Well, thank you for sharing the backstory. I always love to hear that.
I wanted to tell you, we had another, I love it when Sandy comes, and I can't wait. You said she's coming back again real soon, but weren't you impressed by that train trip? I mean, I really want to do that.
Travel by rail.
Yeah. You think we should go that way?
I think that would be, listen, I have so many things I'd like to do. They require leaving the house. But yes, that would be so much fun. And just to be, the person on the street walking around, interviewing people, person in the railways, person, fashion shows, Broadway. There's so many things for the future.
Yes, absolutely. But after that show, I played it again so my husband could see. I go, we have to do this. Look, because for the listeners who missed it, go back to Dr. JACALYN's videos and you can watch it, because this ability to take a rail through, I think, wasn't it Dr. JACALYN, Utah, all the way up to the Canadian Rockies? And
yes, it was the national parks, right?
Yeah, that's right. And you had this amazing aerial kind of view from the mountaintops of the mountains like you've never seen before. I just thought it was breathtaking.
I did too. And Sandy was on another time, and she had gone on a cruise, and she shared with us what that experience was like. We also have Juanita, who's been on before, and she's coming back next month also, and she has a wine country.
That's right.
What is that called? Wine country event?
Yeah, in Germany, right?
Yes. So that's exciting as well. And we also had your lovely friend Olga. She was on, and she was giving us some tips about fashion, but she's also in the film industry. And I think I just saw there's a documentary made about her. Did I see that somewhere?
Well, Olga does documentaries of people, and she just finished doing a documentary on a person you know, Julie Lewis.
That's what it was. That's what it was. Yes.
So
yes.
Olga, she is an incredible human being in her own right. Very successful businesswoman, a former diplomat, and speaks many languages. But she's going to come back on our show, and she's going to highlight Dubai and various places that people should make sure they know about when they visit Dubai. So I think that'll be fun.
That's exciting. So she's in Dubai now?
She's in Dubai right now, right?
Okay, fantastic. And last week we had Jane, and I'm still, my mouth's still watering over those food images of food that we saw. I mean, it is true. Fresh pasta, it's like nothing else. I mean, I'm so used to the pasta in the box or the freezer section with the ravioli from that company begins with an S. But there's nothing like when you go into a restaurant or any store and they have the machine there and they're hand making the pasta. Did you ever try that, by the way?
I tried making it. I didn't have the machine. My son has it. But I did try making noodles. And after I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, just forget this. I'm going back to baking.
I actually bought a pasta maker, and I had all the ingredients in there, and it just didn't turn out right. It's a lot of work, and it didn't turn out right. So when I moved, not this last time or the time before, but the time before that, I actually just put a bunch of things on Facebook and sold them for like $5. Come and get this, get one free. I didn't care. I just wanted, so it was, you know, it was a very expensive machine. I thought, well, I'm not going to use it. Somebody who knows how to use it, they'll benefit from it.
Well, good for you. Yeah, but at least you gave it a go. That's more than like some of us do, right?
I like to bake, like you just mentioned, and I think it's kind of cruel as we get older that we can't eat as much sugar as we would like to. So I stopped baking because I could just see it in my skin where you know what I mean?
Yes, I know. And I stopped baking for a while, and I was really good, like for several years. And then COVID happened, and I rediscovered my kitchen, and I fell in love with homemade bread again. And, you know, the chocolate just, oh my gosh.
So good. Especially when you have a kitchen that you love. Yeah. You know, when you have your space, it is really a joy to cook.
It is. And, you know, I love going out to dinner. Don't misunderstand me. I love going out to a lovely restaurant. I like the fine dining kind of, I'm that kind of gal. I want to get dressed. I want to feel feminine. I like go for the whole thing. But there's also something about home cooking and people gathering around the kitchen as you're mashing the potatoes. Something magical each way, right?
Yes, there is. There's definitely. It's funny because, and I think I shared this before the pandemic, I used to go out to dinner maybe 4 nights a week.
Oh, lucky you.
4 nights a week. And now I don't go out at all.
Yeah. No, that's why you look so good.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I found this this routine. Now we're all over the place, but it's also fitness. I found this routine that I really think makes a difference, and it's not like I came up with it myself. I had a trainer for a number of years, but in between everything you do when you're working out, let's say you're in a gym or maybe you're in your driveway or some room that has a floor, you jump rope for 100 counts and then go and do something like do some push-ups, 100 counts, do some push-ups. And if you can't do 100, do 20 jumps, do 15 jumps, then do jumping jacks in between. And I have my trusty, it's right here, my Apple Watch. I don't have my thing on it, but I can just see from the number of calories and my heartbeat what is actually making a difference. And so if I'm not jumping rope, you know, a lot of time during the pandemic, I was on my trampoline, which was kind of similar. But that's a huge difference. Like just going outside and walking is not enough. I say this to people all the time. I'm not saying to you, I'm saying in general, because I walk all the time as well. But you have to do something to switch it up. And that jump rope works.
Yeah, I agree. I used to jump rope all the time, and my knees can't take it anymore. But jump roping is amazing. And what you reminded me of is how important movement is. And sometimes we get so, we can sit in front of a computer for hours and we forget to move. And then you're like, oh my God.
I know. Okay.
Go buy a jump rope.
It's true. You know what? With jumping rope, when you bring up a good point about your knees, they do sell something. I don't know if this would help or not. It's like this thick, and you put it on the floor or whatever the surface is, and you jump on that.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's a shock absorber.
Oh, I know you can buy these pads because one of my daughters has one, and so she stands to do all her work. She has a standing desk.
Mm-hmm.
She has a big, thick pad. I don't know if that's the same thing or not, but I'll have to look into that. Thank you. Listeners,
you're welcome.
Catch that? Dr. Jackson, say that again for our listeners.
So they have, you can actually go on Amazon. I hate to push people there, but they have it looks like a puzzle piece, and there's squares with the top, and then you can put it across the floor wherever your equipment is so that you don't mess up your floor.
There you go. I know what you're talking about now.
Yes. And one other thing I'll share under the fitness category is, and I refound this last week because I was doing this before the pandemic. They have these things at the gym. There are these giant hooks, and then there's this black sort of thing that you put your arm in, and this thing hooks up to this bar. So you're like this, and you need something to step up on. So you hook up these things, and your arms are in it like this, and then you do leg raises. You bring your knees up to your chest while you're hanging from not the ceiling, but from this thing. And wow, what a difference it makes. It's still fat on there, don't get me wrong, but it's muscle covered by fat instead of just fat. If that makes any sense.
I'm still trying to push wondering if I have enough strength to pull myself up. But you're not doing a pull up, you're just hanging there and pulling.
You're hanging there, yes, and you're pulling your knees up.
I think I could do that.
Yeah, I'm sure. And then you can also go to the side, like bring your knees up to the side, middle, side, middle, side. And then after that, if you get off there, you can take the little bench. This is on a huge machine. I don't know what it's called. And then they have these 2 bars, and you can actually stand on something, and then you pull yourself up.
Very nice. I think I'm going to get in the water and just do my knees that way because I can't feel the weight in the water.
Yes. What about leg extensions? Can you do any of them? Does that help your knees get strengthened, or no?
Yes, it does. And rubber bands are very good as well.
Oh, yes, I have them too. Yeah. So, that's great.
There's our fitness category. We had a great young lady from England who shared how she helps out people individually with their workouts, which I think she was really good in her thoughts.
Her name is Emma Porsc, Porsc. And are you following her on Instagram?
No, I should though.
Oh my gosh. If you see the workouts that she's doing, and in each one, she doesn't have anything around her midriff. It's just like, what? She can walk up walls. I mean, it's just, and her kids are working out with her too. It's amazing. It looks like in her backyard, she's got the whole jungle gym thing set up where, that the thing you climb with, what is that called? Yeah.
Now it just escaped. It went out my brain, but I do love it.
Yes, she's an amazing.
Zip lining, you do zip lining, and then you go and cross a bunch of different things.
Yeah, it's like what they have to do, I think, when they're training in the military, that you have to be able to hand over hand bar, one bar at a time. Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's not this kind of bar. That's.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh my goodness, you people who aren't able to see us visually today, we are like an Italian talking with our hands.
You know what, Diane? I'm just looking at the time. Do you realize we've been live for 42 minutes already?
Oh, well, that's what happens when you're speaking to someone that you just love.
Blah, blah, blah.
I have to throw out, we have to have Janet back, because I know her Christmas designs and her Halloween designs are out there. So I think we need to get her back. What do you think?
We definitely need to get her back. And you just reminded me that we have a special holiday sequence of shows coming up that we need to start working on very soon. I forgot about that.
Yeah, so.
Yes, yes, that's okay. All right. All right. So, what topic should we close the show out with? I was thinking eyelashes are always good.
Oh, I love eyelashes. I actually have given my eyes a break, and you're seeing my real eyelashes at the moment. But I do love how the young lady shared with us about those magnetic ones. I'm blown away by them. I haven't tried.
Have you tried? You haven't tried it?
Have you?
I haven't tried it yet, and only because of one reason. I have so many allergies. Like, just here's a topic. So I went to the eye doctor, I think last week, and I have dry eye. So they gave me these drops. But I think part of the problem was that I've been using eyeshadow that has glitter in it. And glitter, I think, has metallic pieces, and I'm allergic to different metals. So my eyes would constantly be watering. They're not doing it anymore. But so I'm kind of afraid of using that, whatever that you paint on that the lashes stick to, because I don't know what it's made of.
That would not be good for you.
Yeah, and I'm allergic to latex also, so I don't know. Like a lot of those things, like the little tube, the Duo, whatever it is, I have to get the latex free.
Yeah, Duo, yes, and they do make one that's latex free, and everyone probably use the one that's latex free.
Yeah, it's not good for you. So I don't know what's in that liquid that you put on before the magnetic.
You know, I think if you ate more chocolate, it might help your allergies.
I think that's a great idea. This is one thing that I eat. I happen to have a wrapper here, and this is kind of cheating, I think. Can you see it?
Is it Zone? Oh, yes.
Zone Perfect. So this is what I eat for breakfast every day: double dark chocolate. So I'm sure it's all fake. The list of ingredients is so long. But that's where I get my little chocolate fix, because it's covered outside with chocolate.
Oh, that's good. But you know, if Jane was on the show today with her Italian,
I know. We wouldn't be eating preservatives in a plastic container, plastic wrapper.
Eating what, remember what I loved about that was the Italians, they eat according to the seasons, right? So she would have seen your Zone, my little bars that I eat. She'd be like, do you realize that there's superfood in the blueberries that are in season right now?
Exactly. I know. And I think it takes work to be healthy. It's so easy to grab a bar. I mean, I have them sent to me from Amazon by the case. I get like 3 cases at one time, and then I just have them for breakfast. It's right, because I'm too lazy to go and do something like go in the refrigerator and get out the fruit, whatever it is. I'm just lazy.
You know, Albert Einstein said something to the effect of, you don't eat what you like because that makes you healthy. If you eat what you like, you'll never be healthy. Did you know he said that?
No, I didn't know that.
He was ahead of his time, wasn't he?
He definitely was. Yeah.
Of course.
And that's a really good point, because we only live a certain amount of time. And I think it's always that fine line of doing what makes us feel good versus doing what we should be doing so we live longer. But we don't have any control over how long we're going to live. So sometimes it's almost like, I just should do what I feel like doing because I might not be here.
Yeah, you just have to have those moments. So before we close, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Forget everything. You just have this hankering and you just have to have it because it's going to just make you feel just really good inside. What would that be to eat?
I think chocolate chip cookies.
And would you have that with milk?
No, I don't drink milk because of I'm lactose intolerant, but I love to make chocolate chip cookies. That is my go-to. But I stopped doing it because what would happen is, first of all, I love to eat the raw batter, which is so bad. I could eat half of it just in raw batter. And then I bake the cookies, and this is when I was living by myself, and I'd be like, who's going to eat them but me? And so then I just start to eat them like maybe 4 at a time because I might as well get them out of the way because I'm going to be fat. So I might as well get fat so I can get it was a whole big thing. So
okay, we're going to just forget about all that, but just what do you enjoy? Chocolate chip cookies. All right. And for me, it's like if it's a winter night, which I should have asked you the setting, right? Writing a book, right? So it's cold outside and you just want to feel good because something upsets you and you just want to feel good inside. I'll make my great grandma's biscuits, her recipe, and then I'll sit down with some good, soft, real butter and just melt it all over that and just I could eat all those biscuits like crazy.
that sounds really good, especially if you have, I don't know what kind of butter is, but I know when you go to Europe, and I'm thinking probably of different hotels I've been in, they have this butter and it has like, you can see the salt on it. Just
so rich, right? Yes. Well, we haven't gained any calories talking today, have we?
No, we have not.
Enjoyed the show as much as we have. And it's been fun to cover all the different topics of all the wonderful people we've had. And this is such a great show. I realize I'm on it with you, but it's a fun show to do and for people to discover fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure, right?
It really is a fun show. And you know what else I think would be, it just popped into my mind. I thought of you and I thought of Ricky. Do you know Ricky McKenna?
No, only by name, but I don't really
know. Well, she has a cooking show, and I know you're a great cook. I'd love to have like a cooking segment where we're actually in your kitchen.
I love that. I started just a couple of weeks ago for my Instagramming because I'm trying to get better at social media to do those reels and so forth. So I'm doing some baking and I'm videoing me as I'm baking.
Well, I think that sounds fantastic. And since we have some extra broadcasting time, since we're taking Talking Heads off for the next month to engineer the back of the platform, I think we could do some cooking shows as well.
Oh, let's go for it.
I won't be doing the cooking. You can do the cooking, and then we can have a different guest. Yeah, we could have Ricky and maybe Simon from Scotland. I think that would be fun.
Oh, that sounds like a blast.
Okay, there it is.
There we go. What do y'all think? Y'all email us, put it into the chat. Tell us your favorite food to put on there.
There it is. We'll reach out to Ricky and to Simon and see about getting this cooking show going.
All right.
Fantastic. All right, what do you have planned for the weekend?
For the weekend. So believe it or not, Dr. JACALYN, I think you're always learning a little bit about me.
Yes.
So I realize I can go to the store and buy curtains, but no, I like sewing. And so I am working on completing some curtains for my sewing room.
Oh, very nice. What do they look like?
They're so pretty. It was very debatable. It took me almost 2 hours to decide on the material. Isn't that crazy? Because I wanted to be able to like do magic and flip them over and have them double-sided. But I went for the real sweet look of baby blue background and flowers because gardens always make me happy.
That sounds very pretty. And hopefully on a future show, I know you've moved recently. When you're settled in, you can take us on a little tour, maybe a holiday tour.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? But the person who you need to do a holiday tour with on a show is truly Janet. Her home, from the moment, so in Dubai, everybody has a private gate around the entire compound. And so from the moment she opens this wall, you experience magic. And every single room is decorated. That would be a great holiday tour.
Do you think you can arrange that?
Sure, I can work on that for you if you'd like.
I think that would be fun. I love holiday decorations. I just think it's amazing. And here we put the tree up last year, and that was pretty much it. But the town of Avalon, it's gorgeous. They have the whole thing, you know, it's not that big, but they have the whole thing lit up and all kinds of displays. And there's really no one here. And so you can walk down the street. It's just so almost like you have your own attraction. You know, it's like the whole thing's done for you. It's just beautiful.
Oh, wow. I love that. To me, going and looking at Christmas lights and singing Christmas carols. And I'll tell you a secret. I've already started practicing getting my voice in shape for Christmas songs because I just love singing Christmas carols. So I wish I could come up to Avalon. It's going to be freezing up there. I don't know if you noticed, but I have on a sweater. I mean, it's a summer, wintry, fall kind of sweater. But so in Texas, we're like, oh my gosh, fall's here. It's going to be 88 degrees. So we're all walking around with sweaters, and this wonderful.
Does it get cold there?
Well, we had that giant freeze last
that's
year,
right.
and I'm still having workmen on the house. You know, we lost so many trees, and the house had some pretty bad damage. So, and we're still getting it worked on. But yes, but it's once in a blue moon. Otherwise, for us, what's freezing, and I say us, meaning like someone up in the panhandle, they get snow, right? But for me, you know, oh my gosh, it's going to get below 60 degrees. Quick, get to the grocery store, buy some firewood. Are we going to have enough food to last through the time? And then when we moved to DC, my husband and I, I'm like, oh my God, I can't see the car. It's covered in this white stuff. Like, what do people do?
What do they do here? I'm not a big fan of snow, but I have to say, having spent the winter here this year, I thought it was last year, this year, you get to see, you know, on the bay and the ocean. It's very different. It's beautiful. It's like a picture.
Oh gosh, so pretty.
And it is.
And the fact that you live in a town called Avalon, that name rings a bell in a movie, but it just sounds so pictorial. So.
It is amazing, and especially now. I mean, most of the people have left. Like the trash service, they do once a week instead of twice. Trash collection, they do once a week instead of twice a week. There's all these things that have changed, but it's magnificent. And even if I don't leave the house, I can in this studio, I can look out and see the view. And I can't turn it around and show because of the green screen, it won't work. But it's magnificent.
Well, what a blessing! So we'll each enjoy. I tell you what, everybody listening, send us a picture of your favorite view. We would love to hear from you and have your view. And Dr. JACALYN, maybe you and I can put a picture of one of our favorite views. But it would be fun to have the audience interact with us and share some of their views.
It would be. And actually,
dancing. Leisure's dancing, right?
Yes. By the way, there is a Facebook group that I belong to, and it has, I forget the name of it, but it's basically Show Me Your View. And people from all over the world, it's magnificent. It's incredible.
Oh, what a great idea.
I know. You should get on there.
I should. Yes, I should. Well, I know you have more shows coming up, and I want you to be able to eat your zone bar and think of strawberries while you're eating.
I will. I definitely will. It was lovely seeing you, and for a second time today is a true treat. So I'm just going to spotlight you. And as I always do ask, how can people reach you? How can they purchase your books?
Thank you, Dr. JACALYN. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for always coming into our show. And if you're brand new, I hope you join us every single Friday because we love having you. You can reach me at DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. If you join my newsletter, you'll never miss an opportunity to find out where and when and how to purchase a book or where I'm at. And I'm happy to come and do a book signing wherever you are. It's DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. Almost forgot for a moment. I must need some chocolate. What do you think, Dr. JACALYN?
Yes, and I actually forgot to run any commercials. So we'll close out this show with your commercial and then our bumper, and then we will call it a day. Do come back and see us in just a little while. In half an hour, I have a story to tell, and I've got two amazing guests. So thanks, Diane. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a good weekend.
You too. Take care, Dr. JACALYN.
Okay, bye-bye.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diann BOEHM. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diann Floyd BOEHM tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diann's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diann's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diann's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diann's delightful books and much more at DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. Visit DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com. That's DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com.